Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so last week's class was, we had a guest that spoke about the listing presentation.
Mhm.
So this week we're gonna talk about the listing process. So after you get the listing contract signed, like let's say Maria got the listing contract signed, what do you do? What's the next thing you do? And I always tell everybody, you go to Disneyland, you celebrate,
Yes.
right? So you can if you want to, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So this is what we're gonna cover today.
Mhm.
So we're gonna summarize a little bit of the pre-listing preparation and tasks. The listing presentation tips, just summarize that a little bit, and then post-listing agreement tasks. What do you do after you get the listing? And just to kind of summarize the previous weeks, pre-listing preparation. Contact the sign company, make sure that you order your signs ahead of time. Whether you get the listing or not, it's important. It's very good to have a sign on hand. You never know when you're gonna get a listing. Zach, I think you're gonna get one pretty soon. Also. So, order the for sale sign and the open house sign. So when you contact the sign company, ask if there's, certain requirements for that specific community, because there's certain areas that have restrictions on certain signs. They have their own colors, their own theme, or whatever it is. So ask about that first before you order your signs, and that goes for sale signs and open house signs. And then once you find out that, hey, you can use whatever signs you want, or they have the signs that you need, then you order the for sale sign and the open house signs. And you can order at ressforsigns.com. That's where most of our agents get their signs from. If you want custom signs made, you can design your own, have them print them. It's gonna cost more, but make sure that they say Coldwell Banker Platinum Properties on it. I like to reiterate this because they have Coldwell Banker Realty or Coldwell Banker Residential or other Coldwell Bankers, but I'll make sure it says Coldwell Banker Platinum Properties. And maybe if you guys want to send it to me before you order it to confirm that it's all correct, it must have your name, DRA number, your phone number, and the brokerage name. Next is purchase a lockbox from Orange County Realtors. Or sometimes some of our agents have some for sale that they don't use anymore, you can purchase it from them. But then you'd have to reach out to, I believe it's the board, Orange County Realtors, to let them know that that you were sold or that you purchased a lockbox from somebody else, so they can transfer it to your name. Then you're gonna subscribe to the eKey app on your phone, and this is so you can open the lockbox. Make sure you install it on your phone. There's no purpose of having a lockbox if you can't open it. So have it installed and subscribe to it. I think it's like $15-16 a month.
$17.
17 now? Okay. And then you want to add the lockbox to your Supra account. So when you log into the Supra website, there's a serial number on the side of the lockbox. You're gonna add that serial number to your Supra account so that it knows that box belongs to you. And then it'll notify you anytime somebody accesses the lockbox and so forth. So it's important to have this. Whether you have a listing or not, it's important to have it on hand.
Yeah, I know they hardly die, it takes long, they have a long lifeline.
Yeah,
If they do die, you have to get a whole new one, or can they replace with a battery?
I'm not sure because I don't know of anyone that's ever had one die. Yeah. They might replace them for free, I'm not sure.
Okay,
But I don't know of anyone that's ever had the issue where the battery dies on it.
okay,
So preparing the listing presentation, this is the summary on it. Remember, you're gonna obtain a property profile from the title company. This is to make sure that you are talking to the decision makers, the people that own the property. Make sure that when you're meeting with them, their name matches whatever name's on the profile. If you're not sure, because maybe it's in a trust, you can contact the title company and ask them to look into a little bit further. Or if it's in an LLC or something. So MLS, look for comps in the MLS to find a suggested list price. Again, you're not gonna decide the price for the seller. The seller's gonna decide the price. You're gonna present your evidence, your research, and say, hey, look, this is what's sold. Now that you have the evidence, what do you think that we should list at? And then they're gonna ask you at times, what do you think? That's why we hired you. What do you think we should list it at? So then you can tell them, I think between this and this. And then otherwise, they're gonna tell you, I wanna list it for this. And then you can either discuss even further as to, are they a little high? Are they a little low? And then the reasons why you think they're high or low. So then you talk about that. Prepare the CMA for the listing appointment. So after you pull up the comps, prepare your CMA. The CMA, the comparable market analysis, is gonna have the comps that shows evidence, to show your research. It's gonna show your marketing plan. I don't know if I have that in here. It's gonna have your marketing plan. It's gonna talk about Coldwell Banker. It's gonna talk about yourself and your experience. And, I'm the greatest realtor in the world. I help buyers, I help sellers, I help investors, I help landlords and tenants. And then you're gonna go to Zip Forms and print out a blank residential listing agreement. So that way, you're assuming they're gonna sign with you. You're hoping they're gonna sign with you after your listing presentation is complete. So just to summarize, this is what you want to do. There's more into it, but refer back to the other class, listing presentation class. So now at the listing appointment, again, we're going to summarize this. Tour the property, and again, the flow can be however it might change when you get there. Maybe they want to sit down and talk to you before they show you the property, but tour the property, discuss the client's goals, price, timeline, move date, things like that as you're walking around the property. Identify improvements of the property. So maybe certain things they can fix, repair, replace, maybe declutter, clean the place up a little bit, depersonalize it. Discuss comparable properties, your CMA, present your CMA. Discuss pricing and timing strategy. If we price it too high, it might sit on the market longer. If we price it just right, it might sell right away. If we price it low, it's going to sell even faster, right? Discuss your marketing plan. You haven't signed the residential listing agreement. And this is what the residential listing agreement looks like, well, at least the top portion of it. All right, let's move on. Now that you got the listing, what's next, right? So now this is what you guys came for. So you run the listing, now it's time to prove your value. How are you gonna prove your value? Do what you said you're gonna do. Don't just get the listing and disappear on them. Emphasize proactive communication, preparation, and marketing. So make sure that you establish how you're gonna communicate with the seller. Do they prefer to be contacted via text, via email, via phone call? This is very important because what if you get an offer that's too good to be true and you want them to accept it, but the offer expires at 5 o'clock today, where they're saying, hey, this offer is too good to be true, so we're gonna cap it at 5 p.m. So if you don't respond by 5, we're going somewhere else, right? So make sure that they will be able to respond to you in a timely manner. Let's see, let's move on. Prepare all the seller's disclosures for the sellers to sign, answer questions, initial sign and everything. This is gonna help you speed up the process once you accept an offer. You wanna get these out as soon as possible. So have these already filled out and signed before you go on the market, or the first week of it being on the market, as soon as possible. I get it done probably before I put it in the MLS just to make sure I have them. Schedule a professional photographer for a photo shoot. You can go to previewfirst.com, create an account, it's free. And it allows you to schedule an appointment it pulls up the calendar, you select the day. Do you prefer the morning window of 3 hours or the afternoon window of 3 hours? So that way, when you talk to your seller and you're planning all these things, you can say, look, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller, we're gonna go live 2 weeks from now. But what we need to do is we need to schedule the photography for 2 or 3 days from now, which is gonna be this specific date on the calendar. And would you prefer morning or afternoon? What works for you? And then you can then log into previewfirst.com and schedule that appointment. Take this opportunity again to recommend decluttering, minor repairs, curb appeal enhancements, any deep cleaning, things like that. So maybe the carpet's like really terrible. We want to make sure that it's clean before we go on the market, or maybe there's they have a bunch of kids and there's little grease handprints on the walls or crayon scribbles on the walls. Either clean that or touch it up with paint. So let's move on here. Media and marketing asset collections or collecting. So we're gonna make sure that we have all the photos we need for the MLS, for the flyers, for any type of marketing, social media marketing. If we're gonna have a video or drone 3D tours, make sure we have all that available for when we upload it to the MLS and do everything else. So you want to make sure we're pretty much organizing, right, at this point. So these are things you want to make sure to have on hand before going to the MLS. You're also going to gather community information. Maybe the HOA, the name of the HOA, maybe there's 2 HOAs. What do they charge monthly? What types of amenities do they have? How many pools are there? How many parks are there? What are the local schools? Things like that. Utility information, this might come in handy, find out who the phone company is, the cable company, do people still use home phones? Is there still phone companies? Yeah? Okay, so electric company, gas company, so forth, right, waste management. So maybe you wanna have all that information on hand. Feature list, so what are you gonna feature about the property? Does it have the best kitchen in the world? Is it a gourmet style kitchen? Does it have brand new Viking appliances or whatever, right? But what are you gonna feature about the house? So make sure you have that list ready. HOA docs, if applicable. Let's see. There is a question. Oh, Marshawn, okay, you found a place that can give you a sign within 1 or 2 days. That's pretty cool. Maybe you can type in the chat where that place is. Oh, in the Valley area. You have to pick it up though, right? I'm assuming. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So now adding the listing to the MLS. So this is going to take some time, especially if you're brand new. It could take you a couple hours to submit the listing, fill everything out and submit it. So what you want to do is you want to search for a previous listing of that property. So has that property ever been listed? Has it ever been in the MLS, whether for sale or for lease? So if you find it in the MLS, print it out. Have that to your disposal. Search the MLS for other properties in the same tract that have recently sold. That's going to have more information about the neighborhood, about the HOA, about if it's the same floor plan, things like that that might be of use to you. So have that handy. Have a copy of the property profile handy. You might need some information from it. So the more information you have available to you, the faster this is going to go. And then when you first walk through the house, and I should have mentioned this earlier, when you're walking through the house, taking the tour during the listing presentation, write down, what kind of countertops the kitchen has, what kind of cabinets, what kind of flooring, all these little things about the property, right? Does it have a fire? It has a fireplace in the living room. It has a fireplace in the master bedroom. It has walk-in showers, like all these things. So that way, when you're adding this into the MLS, you have all this data available to you for when you fill in the form out to submit the listing to make it a lot more easier, make it go faster. So that way you don't have to be calling or texting the seller, hey, were those countertops Corian counters or was it granite counters or what tile, what were they? Or, I don't know, what kind of flooring was it? Was it, I don't know, hardwood floor? Was it engineered flooring? What was it? So you wanna make sure to have all this available. So pre-plan for all this. So you're gonna submit the listing to the MLS and add your showing instructions. Remember to let the seller know that the house is gonna be showed by agents and you're gonna hold open houses. So make sure to hide all of your valuables or any prescription drugs. Because this is what people look for when they go to these open houses. They look through the drawers while you're showing property to somebody else. During the open house, they go through the drawers and look for jewelry, look for prescription drugs in the cabinet, things like that. So after you add the listing to the MLS, you're gonna add it to SkySlope. SkySlope gives the brokerage a copy of that listing, so that way if there's ever any issues, someone calls Rich from another office, and he has no idea what they're talking about, so he goes into SkySlope to look up the listing contract. Guess what? It's not there. Now he can't defend you. Now he has nothing to go by to defend you. So make sure you upload it to SkySlope. That way we have a copy of it. Not to mention, the brokerage is required to have a copy of it on hand. So media and marketing asset collections, again, we're going through this, begin to market the property. Design a property flyer, you can go to Moxie Impress or Listing Concierge. And then send it to print, so there's already preset templates on there that you can upload your photos to. Moxie Impress automatically, after this is after you enter into the MLS, creates a marketing package for you. But you might want to do something before you launch, right? So to get it ready for the open house. So then you go to Listing Concierge and you'll find a bunch of templates that you can use there to create flyers. Once you've created the flyers, you download the PDF, email it to the printing company, get your flyers, create mailers or postcards announcing the just listed. Social media, make sure anything that you are going to advertise on the property, make sure that it has your name, phone number, your DRE number, and the brokerage number. Social media, mailers, everything. E-marketing, hopefully by now you've compiled a list of email addresses that you can send the announcement to via email. And again, this is free if you're not paying for a CRM. And remember, we have a CRM available, Moxie Engage. So if you guys are not set up, go ahead and you can either meet with Cecilia or myself to get set up. You can email me the listings, email me a picture, brief description of the property, and I can e-blast it to the office, to all the agents in the office announcing your listing. And then your open house. So make sure that you schedule your open houses. Make sure you add them onto your listing in the MLS. So it goes off into the web to let everybody know when your open houses are. Any questions on this? Let's see. Oh, okay. All right, let's move on. So now you can install the for sale sign, install the lockbox. So after you've created your flyers, you have everything ready, you upload it to the MLS, then go out and put the sign up the same day. If you can put the sign up the same day you're gonna enter into the MLS, but I would not do it any time before that. So either on the day or after the day that you upload it to the MLS. What happens is some agent that farms a neighborhood is gonna call or report you to the MLS and say, hey, they have a for sale sign up, but their listing is on the MLS. So you can potentially get fined for it. So make sure you don't install it too early in the process. So set seller expectations, feedback updates, timelines. So let the seller know, hey, based on, I guess, the price, right? Based on the price, I showed you the comps, the recent sales, the average days on market is 36 days. So just to let you know, based on the price, we overpriced a little bit. It might be on the market longer than that. So have that conversation, set the expectations so that they're not asking you a week later, hey, why haven't we had any showings? Why hasn't it sold, right? You've already set the expectations. Update them weekly with any showings, any interest that you've had from other agents, any offers, things like that. So on the activity, give them feedback, weekly emails. That's what I do anytime I have a listing, and I think sometimes the sellers don't like it. But if I notice that they don't like it, I'll stop doing it and I'll just, update them a little further down the line. But I like to update them weekly. Hey, we had this many showings this week. I had 5 phone calls from realtors. Had an open house. At the open house we had, this many people come by, and then this is how many offers we had. Or maybe someone submitted an offer, but they didn't include everything that we needed. But I like to update them to let them know, hey, I'm communicating with you. I'm letting you know what's going on, because there's a lot of agents out there that don't do this. They list the property and then you don't hear from them until they have an offer. So I think they want to know, plus not to mention what you're doing to market their property. Hey, I just sent an email blast to 5,000 agents within the Orange County area promoting your listing. Hey, I just posted it on social media and it's the ad's gonna run for 5 days and it's supposed to hit this many people. Let them know what you're doing, right? I just sent out a postcard to the neighborhood announcing the listing. Let them know what you're doing so they know that you're actually working. A lot of people think that realtors don't do anything. So prove them wrong. Price adjustment conversations, make sure that you have those conversations with them. Or let them know that at some point you might need to adjust the price. So upfront, if they're overpriced, say, hey, look, if we don't get any offers, we have to talk about price adjustments after maybe 2 weeks. Because you don't want it to sit on the market for too long. People are gonna wonder, why is it still on the market? And why are they dropping the price? And it's gonna make you look desperate. So the sooner we do it, the better. It's sitting for a while and they see there's a price drop, people are gonna start lowballing. That's pretty much how it goes. So monitor days on market, not to mention, like I said, other properties that are on the market in that neighborhood. Showing count, how many agents show the property? Feedback themes. When you set up the lockbox, you could set up an email to automatically go out to the agent that showed the property that asks them for feedback on the property. You can set that up or not set it up, it's up to you, but I think that's a pretty good thing, right? Most agents probably don't reply to it. Unless they found something really wrong with the property, right? This property is way overpriced, it's not worth it. Or, whatever it is. But if there's a theme, like theme on my last listing, it's way overpriced. Okay, it's way overpriced. Do you think it's a little overpriced? Yeah, okay, thank you. So that's the feedback I got, so that's the feedback I gave to the sellers. It's overpriced, so that's a theme, right? So you think that if they hear that enough, they might wanna do something about it? These didn't, but. Online traffic, so monitor how many views you're getting on Zillow. You can create a Zillow account, and then when you log in, it automatically links, it asks you for your MLS ID, so it'll link your listing to your account. So you get to see how many people are actually seeing viewing the listing. And you might get some leads from it too. Market shifts, so monitor, hey, in this neighborhood where my listing is located, are people other agents dropping their prices? Or are they selling faster than usual? Why is mine not selling? So just monitor that as well, right? If you plan on holding an open house, you can have the title company or ask the title company to provide you booties, the shoe covers, and then like a flyer stand. That's important because it shows the seller that you're respecting their home and you want to make sure that you keep it clean. And they're gonna say, oh, that's a good idea, I didn't think about that. Because you don't want people tracking their muddy shoes to the house either, right? And you can get this for free from the title company. Advertise the open house to the neighbors the week before or that same morning. And again, add the open house date and time to the MLS. You can also do a brokerage preview for it. Here in Irvine, the brokerage previews are on Wednesdays. And they're usually around maybe 10 to 1 or 10 to 2. So this allows other agents to preview the property before showing it to their clients. And you know what, sometimes buyers come through the brokerage previews as well. So you can also include the brokerage preview along with the open houses on your listing. And it's a little showcase too, right, for the other agents. And just so you guys know, for brokerage previews, what used to happen is agents used to provide like food or lunch, sandwiches or cookies or like a full-blown lunch. And that's pretty much designed to get agents to come to your brokerage preview. So what used to happen before, years ago, I've been in this industry for a long time, is agents would look there was a pink sheet to look to see where the brokerage previews are and who's providing what lunch. So I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna stop by here first for breakfast, for lunch, and then here for dessert, and then back over here for another bite. So, but you know what? It brought agents to the property, right? Yeah. So you don't see that as much anymore. I know Holden has cookies and coffee for his brokerage previews, so that's still pretty cool. But and then I think Jay had, I don't know if it was sandwiches or something in one of his brokerage previews. So some people still do it.
One that I went to, they had a whole spread of desserts and pastries.
Did they?
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. See, that's what, if you want agents to come and preview the property, that's what you should do, right? Have little incentive for them to come by and take a look at it. And then you can later on tell your seller, hey, I had 25 different agents come by and preview the property. You don't have to tell them it's because I had a bunch of pastries out, just, just makes you look better too. And you never know, maybe one of the agents that comes through, didn't think about this for one of their buyers, but they see, oh, this house has this, oh, one of my buyers is looking for this. It's not in the same area, but I'm gonna let them know. Maybe they submit an offer, who knows? So you can also complete your agent visual inspection disclosure. Since you have all the seller's disclosures already signed, the answer signed, initialed, everything, you also should have this, because this is gonna go along with your TDS. So go to the property, and again, the agent visual inspection report is not, you're not an inspector, you're not looking under the sink, under the couch, behind the dresser, you're not doing that, you're just walking into each room and looking for any visual deficiencies or defects. See a broken window in the master bedroom, there's a section there for the bedroom. Write in broken window. If there's torn carpet. If you see mold on the wall, what do you write? Do you write mold on the wall? No. We just say there's a black stain on the wall, because we're not mold experts and we don't know what that is. That could open up a whole other can of worms. If there's a stain in the ceiling, you shouldn't really say it's a water stain, just say it's a yellow stain in the ceiling, because maybe it was water, maybe it was pee, maybe it was something different. I don't know. Who knows, right? So, yeah, so B is, I guess broad, is that? Yeah, don't be as specific, because then you start, getting into the little nitty gritty things. So yeah, any breaks, tears, cracks, holes, stains, things like that.
What about like a flickering light?
You could say that, yeah. But I wouldn't go through each room and start checking all the light switches. And that's not visual anymore. Now that's physical. So it's just what you see. So if you
If they're already on. Though,
yeah. You could say that. Maybe like you walk into the bedroom and the doors off the track, like closet doors off the track, or missing or something, things like that. Torn screens in every bedroom, things like that. Any questions on the AVID? Anybody? And again, this is not to take inventory, because I've seen agents from other offices fill this out and they say, oh, there's carpet in this bedroom, there's a dresser, there's 3 couches, it's like, that's not what it's for. So it's not for inventory, so please don't use it that way.
So what about like a fridge that's stained with the house, and like you see it has like a dent or something in it? Would you also count that? Or like an oven?
It's for the house, not
Yeah.
for the appliance. Like if it's missing like a knob or something, I mean.
So like a built-in oven or something?
Yeah, if it's built in, I would maybe jot something down on that.
Okay.
Yeah, but if it's a refrigerator that can be just taken out and placed, if it's a built-in refrigerator, yeah, I would write I'd write that down.
Okay.
Make sure you send out the seller disclosures to the seller for signatures along with your AVID. We talked about that. We also talked about how it's important to have that ready for when you accept an offer, because the sooner you get it to them, the sooner you get it back. And the sooner that they can remove contingencies for that specific item. So we want them to remove contingencies. So then you're gonna do your open house. And at the open house, you can have the open house visitor non-agency disclosure. And this is just a form that has a bunch of blank lines for a buyer that comes through that either has an agent already, so they're just gonna sign in and say they have an agent, or they just don't wanna work with you, right? And then you can talk about the property to them. Now that there's no representation there, okay, now I can tell you about the property. Otherwise, buyer representation, because you can talk about them whether you're their agent or not their agent, but if you're their agent, they have to sign that relationship form. If you're not their agent, they have to sign saying you're not their agent. So either or, they should sign something. And if they don't want to sign, It's okay, they don't have to sign, you can let them through, just don't share any additional information aside from the flyer. Right, here's the flyer, I can't answer your question unless you sign either this one, or this one, there's 3 different ones, right? So the second one is the buyer representation broker compensation agreement. And this one is pretty much saying that I'm your agent and it's for the time period of 3 months or whatever you want it, anything 3 months or less. And I'm gonna show you properties, I can show you properties in Orange County and or a specific city or whatever it is, and you're gonna pay me this much percentage on commission. And that covers any property shown. Or you could do the property showing and representation agreement, which this one you can make specific to only this property. So this is my listing here that I'm holding the open house for. And if you would like me to represent you on submitting an offer for this property, you can use this specific form and write in the address that I'm only representing you for the purchase of this property only. So there's times where the buyer's gonna wanna do that. They're gonna wanna go to 5 different open houses, submit offers on all those different properties, but only submit it through that agent for that specific property. So they can have 5 different properties showing and representation agreements signed for 5 different properties and submit offers on those 5 properties without obligating themselves to one particular agent. Does that make sense? Any questions on this? Because I know this could be confusing for some people. Let's see, who's online? Okay, you guys all know.
So they could also, if they have a buyer representation agreement with one agent, and it's in that area, they couldn't do a property showing for that one property.
If the buyer representation and broker compensation agreement is not exclusive,
Okay.
yeah, that's why it's important to check the box that says exclusive, that you're only working with that agent. Otherwise, if you don't check that box, the buyer can, submit an offer to somebody else and you're not entitled to commission. Thanks for asking that, because that clarifies it. All right, let's move on. So then, after you hold the open house, maybe you show the property a few times, a few agents have showed the property. You're gonna get a bunch of offers. Hopefully, you'll get a bunch of offers now, right? And make sure that, in the private remarks in the MLS, this is a section you can do this in, is write down what you want them to submit along with the offer. Please submit your offer, or the RPA, your pre-approval, and your proof of funds. There's some people that ask for, last year's taxes and blah, blah, all this stuff, but we don't need all that, right? It's just the RPA, the pre-approval, and proof of funds. And the proof of funds should include what they need for the down payment, including closing costs. So if you enter that into the MLS, then hopefully all the offers that you receive are gonna have those 3 things. In a case where somebody submits an offer and they don't have the supporting documents, they just submit the RPA, then you can either ask your seller, hey, do you even want to see this, or should we wait for the documentation? They can be like, I don't even want to see it. So then you reply to the agent, hey, please submit your complete offer packet and include this, this, and this. And we're not going to show it until you provide that. And yeah, so make sure that anything you show that you present has a complete offer. There's a form in zip forms called summary of multiple offers. So when you're showing or reviewing all the offers with the seller, you can fill this in and it's pretty much summarize what all the offers are like, and they can compare them side by side. And this is pretty cool because now you don't have to look through each one and all the pages and everything while you're showing them. Just make sure you fill it out correctly when you're filling this out. This is a pretty cool form. So what happens next is hopefully you accept an offer or send out counter offers. And if you're sending out counter offers, that's a good thing. That means you got multiple good offers, and you might get more money because you send out counter offers for a higher price, probably, right? And then you accept an offer, or your seller accepts an offer. And now what happens after you accept the offer? Now do you go to Disneyland? No, you open escrow. And now you have either the next 30 days of stress or
Oh.
possibly not stress, I don't know, depending on how you deal with it, right? Or what kind of client you're dealing with or buyers. So after accepting the offer, you're ready to open escrow. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna email. You guys are gonna either agree to use a specific escrow company in the purchase contract, or they're gonna say seller's choice, which then you're gonna use Sterling Escrow. And then you're gonna email Michelle here, Sterling Escrow, a copy of the executed purchase agreement and any counteroffers or addendums to that purchase agreement, along with the seller's contact information, because escrow needs to contact the seller to get more information from them and send them wire instructions. Sorry, not wire instructions, escrow instructions for them to sign. And then you're also going to email escrow the buyer side agents and for contact information. Because escrow has to reach out to them and get the buyer's contact information to send them wire instructions and escrow instructions. Because the deposit, earnest money deposit needs to be in within 3 business days. So then what happens after you open escrow? You're gonna deliver the seller's disclosures to the buyer's agent, have buyer and their agent review it and sign it and send it back. So you should have a copy of fully executed seller disclosures. If applicable, if the seller agreed to pay for a termite inspection, you as a listing agent should be ordering that termite inspection as soon as possible. Right, so after I open escrow, that's the next phone call I'm gonna make. Let's order termite right away. If the seller agrees to repairs, the buyer's gonna have their physical inspection, and then they might have some repairs that they'd like made. So if the seller agrees to make any repairs, make sure that this is completed by the final walkthrough. So let's move on. And then my famous transaction timeline, I love this
Yes.
thing. You guys know I love this.
Yes.
So remember that acceptance date is day 0, and then what's acceptance? We talked about that on Tuesday also. Acceptance is the delivery after the last signature. So when it's delivered after the last signature. So again, an example. Send it out to my client today. They sign it at 11:30 PM. I'm asleep. So I'm not gonna send it back to the other agent till tomorrow morning. So they sign it today, I email it tomorrow morning. The acceptance to the other agent. Tomorrow morning, when I email it to them, is acceptance day.
So the day after tomorrow.
No,
Just tomorrow morning.
yeah, so tomorrow morning, so tomorrow morning would be day 0, the acceptance day, because that's when I delivered it to the other agent, right? Just because they signed tonight 11:30 tonight, that doesn't mean that today's the acceptance day. It's when I deliver it to the other agent. Okay, so you guys understand that, right? Back at home? Let's see. Yeah, you guys all know what you're doing. I wanna make sure it's the same people out there. Yeah, you guys know. Okay,
So can you open escrow on the weekend,
no,
on the first business day?
yes, so it'd be like the following Monday, because escrow's not open on the weekend. But okay, that's a good question. So let's do that example. You open, let's say, I want to pull up a calendar. So let's say you deliver the acceptance on Saturday. So Saturdays is day 0. That means Sunday is day 1.
No.
Yes,
Oh,
and then Monday is day 2. So you can open escrow on day 2. Right, and it's still day 2 from your you're counting down the days. But you still have 3 business days for the buyer to wire over the deposit. So you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So now you're not counting from the beginning, now you're counting business days. So they have till Wednesday evening or Wednesday night to wire in their deposit.
So if you agreed on Saturday
Yeah,
and escrow doesn't open until Monday or whatever.
yeah.
Can the seller back out on Sunday after they accepted it?
The seller can back out for any reason they want to, as long as they haven't removed contingencies. They can rescind their offer, they can, yeah, I mean, there's no foul, no harm, no foul, right? They haven't sent prior to their deposit, so they have nothing to lose. So at this point, why would you hold them up?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they can,
Buyer can,
yeah,
the buyer can back out to you on Sunday?
they can. Yeah, it sucks because, so also let your seller know, like, don't freak them out or anything, but let them know that, hey, when you accept an offer, there's pretty much only one way that you can cancel. But the buyer can cancel for any reason until they remove contingencies. So like, they're pretty much held hostage at this point, right? So if you're dealing with the buyer that's just a pain, and the agent is just a pain, and they're just making your life miserable, the only way that the seller can cancel pretty much is, like, let's say contingencies are supposed to be removed on day 17 per the contract, per what everybody agreed to. And then you're just like, God, I want to get out of this. The seller's like, I want to get out of this. These people are a pain in the ass. I don't want to work with them anymore. So then what I would do is on day 15, I would send a notice to perform to remove all contingencies 2 days prior, prior to the 17th day. So that way, if they don't remove them on the 17th day, we can send a cancel it unilaterally on the next day, on day 18. That's what I'm gonna be looking for. I'm gonna be like, God, we're in day 12, and I'm like, oh, these people. The seller's like, yeah, let's get out of this. And then we have some other offers, and we're just like, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller, just wait a couple more days. We're gonna send the notice to perform. This is your way out. And then hopefully they don't respond, right? And then you can cancel. But I don't know, they might respond, they might not, who knows, but that's their way out. So that's their first way out. The other way out is if they don't, if they don't close on day 30, you can send out the demand to close escrow 3 days prior to closing. And then if they don't close on day 30, then on day 31, you can cancel it. So. Yeah, any questions? Any questions on the timeline? It's pretty self-explanatory there on what needs to be done by when. As far as the seller is concerned though. Seller has seven days to send over the seller's disclosures, which we did on day 1. Or the same day or the next day from after acceptance, because we already had them all filled out and signed. So we're way ahead of schedule there. I ordered the termite inspection on day 1 because I want to do that as soon as possible. Let's see. Yeah. I think we're good here. Any other questions? Anybody?
It was a good opportunity to take this class today for me, because I was a little bit like confused again, timeline wise. Like the day, like acceptance, the day, and then like you open up escrow and a weekend they're not working, that kind of thing like mix it up.
Yeah. So let's say that you delivered the acceptance on Saturday, but it's a 3-day holiday weekend. Escrow's closed on Monday too. Then you open escrow on Tuesday. Yeah. And then that would be day 1, 2, 3. That would be day 3 that you're opening escrow on. But then they still have 3 more business days to send to wire on the deposit. They have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Nobody has any questions, we will end it there. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait. Marjan, turn on your microphone.
I'm at Starbucks. It might be too loud. So I thought escrow is open when we deposit the 3%.
No, escrow, you can't send a deposit if there's no escrow file open. So you first have to open escrow. And then when escrow is open, there's a file number created, the escrow knows who all the parties are involved. and then escrow sends the buyer the wire instructions to wire over the earnest money deposit to escrow. If escrow is not open, there's no.
No. The other way around. So let's say if I open escrow today, but I get my earnest money deposit in 2 days, is it gonna be day 2 towards the contingencies? So, or today that I opened the escrow is day
No,
1?
no, the day of acceptance and the day of opening escrow are two totally different things.
No. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not very clear. When I open escrow today, when my buyer deposits the earnest money deposit, today is what, Thursday? They put it tomorrow, Friday.
Yeah,
What day do I start counting for removing contingencies? Today or tomorrow that I get the EMD?
okay, so in your example, was acceptance delivered today? Did
The
everybody?
escrow was open today. Everything has been accepted. Today,
So it's not, okay, so escrow doesn't dictate how many days you are into the transaction, the acceptance does.
I
So,
see.
so the offer was accepted today, and let's say you open escrow today, doesn't matter, tomorrow's day 1. So let's say, yeah, so let's say with the example I gave on Saturday, so Saturday, you deliver the acceptance, okay? So that Saturday would be day 0.
Mhm,
Escrow's not gonna open until Monday,
mhm.
which is already day 3. Sorry, day 2. Day 2, because Sunday's day 1, Monday's day 2.
Right.
But then you're also gonna include into that business days for the deposit to be wired in. So you're gonna start with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for business days for them to wire the money. Does that make sense? Am I confusing you
Yeah.
more?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so the days begin counting the day after acceptance. So like today's acceptance, day 0, it was delivered, everybody agreed to it, it's delivered. Tomorrow would be day 1. Regardless of whether escrow was open tomorrow or not, it's still day 1.
Got it. So that's when you start counting for removing contingencies.
Right, so when you
Got it.
email escrow and you tell them, hey, I'd like to open escrow, and you tell them what the acceptance date is, you're gonna say, the acceptance date was Saturday. Even
Mhm.
if you're opening escrow on Monday or Tuesday, acceptance date was Saturday, not the day you're opening escrow.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you, Carlo.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Carlos.
You're welcome.
Bye.